Hi everyone, welcome back to the Filmstead Gorls. So today we're going to do something a little different. We're not going to have a traditional show where we talk about movies today, because we all been having a rough time with everything going in the news and on top of that personal stuff. So we wanted to come out and say a few things. Hunter, do you want to start with what you have to say?
Okay, yeah. We were just talking a little bit beforehand and talking about how usually our show is kind of like for us, and we imagine for people watching or listening, kind of a distraction, just like movies and TV are used a lot for escapism. And we were just thinking that right now is not really the time to escape from everything going on. It's really important for us to confront everything, and especially us three, like we acknowledge all of the privilege that we have in the world, and we think that we want to use something that we love to do, our show, to bring you guys sources of entertainment that are also educational, regarding Black Lives Matter and regarding just the history of the Black community in America. And we just think that that's really important.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add, Isabella?
Yeah, that's a tough act to follow. I mean, the same thing, I think especially it's hard to kind of put into words like how to describe everything that you're going through, and it's difficult to kind of find like the way that you want to kind of like speak about it and approach it. And like you said, how movies and TVs are about like escapism, but at the same time I think that they're very educational, and they are like a reflection of a certain society or culture or time period. And I think in that sense that they are very helpful in kind of visually, trying to understand and to be able to educate yourselves. And I think that's what's so like exciting, is that we do have the opportunity where we can educate ourselves, and that we have access to social media and to all this different content and stuff, where we really can do our part and just be like that next generation that's going to make a difference. So that's just
We have decided to do some movie recommendations, because it's more like we ourselves, like the three of us, still need to educate ourselves, because I know I haven't seen a lot of movies concerning
me too
racism in America, and I would love to learn more about it. And
I think before we do movie rec, should we talk about
our little plans? Yes, because recently I know it's privilege of me to think like I wish I could do something more, because like we said, it's a privilege to be, if things are getting out of control, we can say, oh, we're not going to go on social media anymore, and it's easy for us to donate and like sign petitions. But I think a lot of us want to do something more. I know I want to do something more. So we decided to have our own little fundraiser where we'll be taking donations, and we'll be doing things like, if you donate, anyone want to explain that more? Because I don't want to talk so much.
What we wanted to basically do is, if you donate a certain amount of money to we're going to use my Venmo on behalf of all of us. And if you donate a certain amount, we wanted to kind of make it, movie related, because that's what our show is all about and what we like talking about. So we're gonna post obviously like the specific guidelines on like our Instagram and like in the caption for this video and everything. But you can donate a certain amount, and we'll make little gifts for you. Angelique has volunteered to make paintings if you donate. We wanted to do.
I can't promise if they will be that good.
But they're filled with love, and that's all that matters.
I actually have some right here that I can show
examples.
Yeah.
To prove that like I'm okay. I can draw flowers. If you ask me to draw faces, that's okay. Here is a hibiscus I painted for my good friend. Oh. Oh, you can't see it. Can I like?
Oh yeah.
It's just the flower that shows up, but that's the most important part.
Yeah. I think that basically because we've been seeing like a bunch of our friends and like the kumquat. If you go to Chapman, you know what the kumquat is. They've been doing stuff like this, and we think that because I mean, obviously our show and like what we study at school is all about art, so we kind of wanted to use what we love. Like if you donate, we can do something that we love to do, whether it be painting or like making our funny photoshops of movie scenes, anything like that.
Yeah.
We want to use what we can do as sort of, you know, an incentive to donate, other than the fact that donating is a really great way to
Yeah.
support
And
the cause.
makes it fun.
Exactly.
Yeah, like it gives you a little gift along with the donation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
We can give
should we
you
go over the price points? Like if you donate
Oh yeah.
$5, you'll get, well, with a picture of your choice, because we don't want to embarrass you guys. We will Photoshop your face into your favorite movie posters. If you have friends too, you can also add your friends in it, or you just want your face to be on all the characters. We got you.
It's up to you. You choose.
And if you donate $10, you'll get one of my paintings. I'll send it to you with no extra cost included. And then if you donate $15,
There's the extra $5.
yeah, there's the extra $5. You will get a movie recommendation list based on like your personality, very personalized.
Made by yours truly.
You won't share with anyone else. It's very personal, based on your fun facts about you. And yeah.
And just to kind of highlight also the places where the donations will be going to. So we decided on the 3 would be, one of them is a GoFundMe for the family of George Floyd, the man who was tragically killed in Minneapolis by a police officer. The American Civil Liberties Union, and then the NAACP, which is the National Association for Advancement of Colored People. And these are great national causes, so I thought that those would just be a really great place to donate.
Yeah. I guess we'll also add some movie recommendations. We won't leave without getting y'all some movie recommendations.
Yeah, I gotta give some tips.
So anyone want to start off with what the first movie we want to like briefly talk about?
Okay. So basically we're just gonna list off a couple of movies and TV shows that are easily accessible if you have streaming platforms, if you have a laptop, etc., that are really good for you to watch to educate yourself, and a good just way to start the process of educating yourself. So the first one that we wanted to highlight is Dear White People, which is on Netflix, and it's created and directed and written by Justin Simeon, who is a Chapman alumni. And this series is, I mean, it's really great, and because we are college students, it's based in a college campus, and so, you know, for our peers, it's really important to watch and to understand just those sort of things that happen in college communities, because I mean, it is a fictitious show, but the things that happen in the show happen across the country at college campuses. And we just think it's really important because this show, it's very raw in terms of bringing up sort of taboo subjects when it comes to race and talking about race in higher education and just among your peers. So that is a really good way to start. And it's, you know, if you go to Chapman, you support a Chapman alumni, and it's just a really good way to start easing into the education process.
I'll go next. So one movie I really wanted to highlight was the movie of the week, which was Do the Right Thing. We actually watched this for one of our classes at Chapman, and I remember I first watched it, I was emotional because it's one of those movies where it talks about race through all perspectives, and like, but mostly focus on like African Americans in like America, but it also it focuses on every race in the movie. But I think that the ending was a big highlight for me, where it's the ending, even though despite it's all all staged. Nothing is compared to his other movie, Klansman. The end of that movie shows real protests that were going on, and the end of Do the Right Thing, it's a real event, not a real event, it's a staged event, but it's so impactful because this movie was filmed or released in 1989, but there's still events like this happening in today, like we just saw with George Floyd. So I thought it was very important to educate ourselves through that movie. And also it's a fun movie too, like for the most part. It's Spike Lee stars in it too, so it's like he's like a master of all cards, where like he's written it, directed it, and he's acting in it. So, and yeah, another thing I did wanted to mention that I thought of is that like a lot of the movies and TV shows we were talking about are very much more for mature audiences, so not for kids. But I was thinking of like a movie you can show your kid that does do like talk about race stuff, which the movie I thought was Zootopia. Like if you wanted to educate your kids, because like I know it's not appropriate to show your kids a lot of stuff going on, but you can explain like through like a really simple movie like Zootopia that does talk about it does have a underlying race issue, but it's more about like you have the animals that are viewed as vicious and like very just mean, and then you have animals that are supposed to be sweet and like they don't go together, but it's talking about how they will come together. So I like that little allegory that is there. So if you do want to show your kids something kind of similar what's going on with race, then that's a good one you can show. And yeah, those are the two movies I wanted to like shout out.
That made me think of when you were talking about like kids movies. My teacher, like when we were in high school, he read us the Dr. Seuss book, like the Starbelly Sneetches.
Oh,
Like yeah, and I feel like it's not a movie, but it's very like it's a very, it's a book that has a lot of complex topics put into a very simple story. So it's like, that's like the stuff that you should be reading when you're a kid so that you can influence them from like a young age.
Yeah, because one thing I do want to say is that racism is taught. It's not something you grow with. And like, so it's very important to implement that when they're young. And it's good to show examples. And if you don't want to show them what's going on, you can say like, we'll read this book together or we'll watch this movie together. It kind of talks about what's going on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they also had a great thing on. Did you see about what Nickelodeon did? Is they didn't show content for like 8 or 9 minutes, just to kind of like call attention to everything, and then have the kids be like, "Why is there showing no content?" And just to like get that conversation started. So I just kind of wanted to give a quick shout out to that because I thought that was like a really like powerful move on their part. So kudos to them.
Yeah, and it's really cool that a lot of toy companies are taking action as well.
Yeah, Lego donated like $4 million
really
to just different like foundations and stuff.
Yeah, and I think like crazy. I don't know what if Barbie donated, but I remember like they at least posted something saying like, here's what we think is going on, like stuff like that. And yeah,
it's super important to like, it all starts when you're young, and it starts in your home, it starts at your schools. So like the more that you can integrate movies, books, TV shows, all of that deal with current events, like we think that that's really important.
Yeah, for sure. I guess I kind of wanted to like piggyback off of like the Spike Lee train, because you mentioned like BlacKkKlansman, and just like that movie I like remember vividly seeing in the movie theater, and especially the ending was being like really impactful because obviously if you haven't seen a Spike Lee film, they're very stylized, they're very they're colorful, kind of, they're obviously like fictional but very influenced by real life experiences. But at the end of BlacKkKlansman, they show like real life footage of these kind of I forget the state, but like there's just like these protests, and it was a cop car that was just like driving through, basically like threatening to like run over these people. And it showed like then like the very last shot was this like inverted American flag, which is very blatant symbolism. But I thought it was really powerful how it was done at the end of like the film, and the language or like the dialogue in the film is also very very gruesome. You know, they say a lot of slur words a lot throughout the movie, but I think that's what makes it more effective, because like it calls attention to how kind of like normalized people are like using very derogatory terms. And obviously, you know, Spike Lee's an African American man, so he has a different way of like you know, interpreting these words and stuff. So I thought that was also a very, very powerful thing that he did with that dialogue.
It's also based on a true story too.
Yeah,
right?
Yep, exactly. And it's basically, if you like don't know what it's about like a Black police officer who infiltrates the KKK because he pretends to like be a white person over the phone. So that story alone is actually very interesting and really well done. So it's, you know, it's one of the more like kind of comedic, you know, approaches to like education. So
yeah.
We talked about this documentary too, because it's very important to talk about documentaries during this time too. We talked about 13th. I haven't personally seen it, but I heard it's really, when I talk to people and they talk about movies to watch that will inform you, at the top of the list has always been 13. I want to say it did win Best Documentary at the Oscars one year. When it
so it came out
so.
And
it's a Netflix documentary, I'm pretty sure. But
yeah, it came out in 2016. It's directed by Ava DuVernay. I think that's how you pronounce it. Which
female director.
She's incredible.
Yeah, she's made great stuff. I wish I could see more of it. I mean, I can't speak to most of it because I haven't seen most of it, but I mean, but
it's definitely, that's going to be on top of my list, is watching.
Yeah, that documentary is really powerful, and I think I remember I watched it for the first time in a class I took in high school, and I just remember it made me very, not uncomfortable, but it definitely makes you think about your privilege, and it really confronts you with the reality, because I didn't know. I was probably, I mean, I was 16 at the time, 16 or 17, and I still, at that age, I did not really know any of what was shown in the documentary. I didn't know that was the history behind it, and it was really impactful. And I think, yeah, like Angelique said, documentaries are so important because, you know, they show real life, they investigate, it's a deep dive into the history of this country.
Yeah, and I guess the one last we'll introduce a TV show. We talked about a few movies and documentaries, so we'll talk about we talked about a TV show. I'm sorry.
We did, yeah.
So another TV show I did want to call out was, because I know people that've seen it, is I have seen this TV show called When They See Us, and that one it's on Netflix. Was it a Netflix TV show?
Yeah.
So it's another TV show I really want to watch, and it won a lot of awards for the film, and it's also based on a true story. It's very relevant to the things happening today.
Yeah.
And I remember I think my mom saw it and she was very emotional about it. I remember our friend Joseph watched it and he told me like he couldn't finish it because it was too made him too angry watching it.
It's very emotional.
Yeah, so if you really, that's another one, if you really do want to educate yourself, that's a very important one, because like we said, it's really easy for people like us to distract ourselves, but I feel like during this time, it's not like the what's been going on with like the we can't actually, with quarantine, I don't think we can actually say what it is on YouTube. Like I think they will,
it gets flagged or something.
Yeah, so that like where you have to distract yourself, but like this is something real now that we can't, like it's been happening for decades, that we do need to confront and really do need to educate ourselves.
Yeah, rather than turning to media to distract, we think that it's important to turn to media to educate and to, you know, confront your own biases, your own privilege, and just actually think about it.
Yeah. And anything else you guys want to add, or?
I think that's good. I think that's what we talked about.
Yeah.
We will release like a list of movies that we do want. Like we'll release another list of movies about recommendations that we do, because we don't want to. I'm sorry if you can hear my dogs in the background. They're going crazy, going stupid. But because we thought about maybe doing a full-on episode about movies that talk about this. Maybe we'll do it depending on what happens. Maybe we will, like, we will do an episode on this. But like, it was more just like, it's really hard for us to come on here and be our typical like quirky selves and like just be happy, because it's really, I know for me it's been really hard for me to like keep up a really good attitude. So we thought, but we wanted to release something, we wanted to do something, so here we are.
Yeah.
We hope this helps, even if it's just a little bit, just to take the time and just watch something and just
I know some people who do follow our subscribers to our YouTube channel that are not really on social media, so this is like something, but they watch our shows, but like this is something we can let them know, like that we are doing a fundraiser, and like here are some additional information, if like, or maybe if you're not really on social media but you're on YouTube, here are some more recommendations. And I can also add in the description to some movies and TV shows and resources. And yeah, I guess the only thing to add is that we will be running our fundraiser until, I'll get the exact date right now, until the 19th. That sounds good to everyone. And that's when we'll hopefully, that's when we'll hopefully release our next episode of the Filmstead Girls. I guess we also have decided we're going to be posting a new episode every other week, but the weeks that we're not filming an episode, we are going to be posting a review or like a blog post of some sort. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it, the things we want to talk about. And yeah, we'll see y'all in 2 weeks physically. Review will probably be up on something the week after. And yeah, stay safe. Well, I guess we'll do closing. So I guess my closing is stay safe, use your voice, don't be silent. And yeah, stay safe. Anyone else want to add their closing?
Nicely.
Yeah.
Smart.
I think, yeah, I agree. Don't be silent, because your silence speaks volumes. Use any platform you have, regardless of how big it is, to voice your opinions and to speak up for what's right. Do what you can. Donate if you can donate. Watch movies or TV shows we talk about, or other ones that you find on your own. Read books. Do your research.
There's also some podcasts too that you can listen to. I will ask our friend Eric, remember he posted like a whole bunch of good podcasts you can listen to, and I'll add them to the description too.
Just like, don't, this isn't a trend, like this isn't just another social media, and so keep your activism going. Exactly.
And I guess one thing I do want to add is that, like, for parents, I know I have a lot of family members who have young kids, is that I know it's really, you don't want to tell your kids what's going on, and if you are, that's good, but if you do want to, just don't shy them away from it, or try to introduce them in some sort of way. And like, just know, like, it is a privilege to like shy away from it, but we need to confront it. Okay, well, Isabella, do you have anything closing?
I mean, guys are so eloquent with words. Oh my goodness. I mean, I just think, like, I think especially on social media, I've noticed too, like, a lot of it can become, people I'm talking about, like, performative activism, and I've seen that, like, a lot. And I think just, like, don't, like, get caught up in everything, and just, like, take a step back and just realize, like, what's really going on, and, like, why this is happening, and how you can contribute, and how the people around you can contribute. Like, if you don't think that if you don't want to, just know how you can contribute, and the people around you and your community, because if everyone does that, then that works as a collective. So it's just always just like, be smart, and just always just be trying to do the best that you can, and be the best that you can, and
and it starts with you. You are always the first ones to make the first move, so don't let anything hold you back. I know it's really easy to see what other people are doing and think that, like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's easy to see what people are doing, and then you think, like, oh, am I not doing something right? But it's like, just do whatever you do that's that you think is like contributing, I guess, even if it's educating with your family, because I know it's really hard. Like, you want to do, you sometimes want to prove that you are like, oh hey, I'm talking about it, let me prove it. But like, you don't always need to prove it in on a social media platform. If you don't, you can educate with your family too, because always, like we said, it starts in the home. So yeah, so don't let social media tell you that like you're not doing enough, because if you are educating, donating, signing petitions, you are doing enough.
Yeah, you don't need to prove it either, you know. Just as long as, you know, you and your loved ones know it's right. I think that's also like equally as important.
I don't know if that makes sense. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
I was like, wait.
I'm scared I was saying the
This
wrong
makes sense.
thing. So yeah.
It made sense. Yeah.
It's like I'm trying to say, like, I guess like it's important to be, you can be active on social media, but I guess like if like you're not active on social media and it's like you feel like you're not doing enough, you're like, first of all, you shouldn't be scared if you do want to post something, you're scared. And if you're scared like your family members or something might think negative of you, like you shouldn't let that hold you back, because if they don't think you're doing is right, then that's their problem. It's not your problem. You tried. So it's another thing, because I know there's some people that are scared about what their family think when they post stuff like that. So I know I was very much that type of person. Like, I follow people who were like people from my church. I'm scared. Like, I was scared that they were gonna think bad of me, but at one point I'm like, I don't care anymore. Like, what I need to do, like when I see a resource, I want to share it with like friends and family. And yeah, so I guess we'll end it there.
Right.
We'll see y'all on the 19th, and we will post more about our fundraiser on our Instagram and, of course, in the description. So yeah,
please donate if you can.
Yeah, it's okay if you don't though. If you share, it's just good too. Okay. Well, bye everyone.
Bye. Much love.
Lots of love.